Welcome to the shores of Lake Bolsena. Welcome to this amazing setting that we've got behind us. The sun's just going down. I've got Daryl Hodges from Dynamite Bait here, and I've got Nick Brown from Angling Spirit here to bring you up to date with what's been going on with the World Carp Classic over the last 24 hours. There's been some incredible things going on, and during the course of the show this evening, we'd like to bring you up to date with what's been going on, with what's been happening, and there have been some tremendous things. So it's been an exciting time, Nick, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was not just today, really, was it? I mean, yesterday evening, what was it, 7 o'clock, 7:30, we got the first call in the dark, first fish of the tournament's been caught. And about 100 media crew, you, me, all the periphery sort of grabbed the cars, and we grabbed Andy, and Andy took us down to the swim, and we got to see the first fish. Not a huge fish bowl by Cena style, but as fish go, it was great to have one on the bank and get everything rocking. And then it's just sort of gone from there, really, today, isn't it? There's fish seem to be coming out from everywhere. So
I think that's one of the exciting things about Lake Bolsena. There are fish. It's such a vast, vast water. And today I've been out on the water with Daryl, and we had a look from the water actually back to the shore to see what it was like and just get a different perspective. And that's something we'll aim to bring you tomorrow and let you have a bit of a look at that, because when you're fishing 250 metres out as the maximum distance for the World Carp Classic, which it is this year, that's a long way. But when you're actually in the middle of the lake, or even actually approaching that, I mean, it's such a big water that when you see how 250 metres is such a small area relative to the amount of space there is here, it really is quite incredible, isn't it, Daryl?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you only appreciate the real size of the lake when you're actually out in the middle of it. Although I'm not sure we actually made the middle of it, to be fair.
Yeah, we didn't. I think we only got to the edges, but I think it'd be really good. Let's have a look at the start of the competition.
We're just taking the marshals packs out to the marshals, ready for the event. We've got all the recording equipment, first aid kit, obviously got the scales and the waist slings, ready for when the action starts.
All attention, we are 5 minutes to the start now.
We're just about to get ready for the actual start of the event now. We've got the lighters, we've got the fireworks, we've got the explosives, and we're still with the current defending World Carp Classic champion. So you are still the champions at the moment. When that gets lit, that's it, the event's underway, and you're then defending your title.
Let's see. I hope also in the end of the event you will come here.
Exactly. You know what it's like. And see, you're in a good swim anyway, because this is an area that caught fish last year. Yeah. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's hope.
Time will
chance to defend our champion position. We will do all what we can, and let's see.
30 seconds to the start now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The World Carp Classic 2013 is now officially underway. So guys, that's it. Into your boats and get going. Good luck. Well, that was a great start to the event. In fact, both Daryl and I ended up with burnt thumbs as a result of what we did, actually getting those lighters going. But it was tremendous to see these huge explosions and the start of the 2013 World Carp Classic. But it was actually even more thrilling to hear that there were fish being caught, of course, this morning. And Daryl, you know, you guys have done well in this so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, woke up this morning and checked Facebook and the World Carp Classic website, and fantastic to see Bianca and Lizette on top of the leaderboard with, I think they had 4 fish when I woke up this morning. I believe they're now on 6.
That's it.
And still out on top.
Yeah, definitely still on top of the leaderboard, aren't they, at the moment? And they look like they're pretty consistent. There hasn't just been 6 fish in one chunk, has it? No. It's been quite consistent.
Yeah, consistently paced throughout the day. And
so
we went round to see them today earlier, spent a good half an hour or so with them, and they were that relaxed. They didn't even put one of the rods back out. We were 2 minutes late to see a fish going back in, but they didn't even put the rod back out.
But I think even in just in that small section, there were over 13 fish caught this morning, in between, well, at least the start of the event yesterday and this morning when we got there. That's 13 carp.
Yeah, that's good going. It's such a beautiful spot as well. And Lizette and Bianca at the end of a long run, and they've got a nice piece of water to go into.
Whereabouts are they on the lake? Obviously, the guys can see the map behind us. Whereabouts are they when you're looking at the map?
They're around about there.
Yeah,
just on that
they're
point.
just over here, right on this point over here, which is a great point. I
So
mean,
that's Capa de Monte to where we fished on the live TV a few months ago
yeah,
and had
just,
such success.
Just slightly up from that. It's the other end and just on the point round the corner there.
Okay, so at the moment we're over in Bolsena, so people know. So we're basically directly opposite, diagonally from them. That's an awfully long way as the crow flies.
That's about 8 to 9 miles away diagonally, but it's 43 kilometres right the way around the lake. It really is a massive lake.
I think it's good to know. Obviously, there are certain areas that are looking like that could be where the winner comes from. At the moment, we're in very early days. I mean, it's just over 24 hours since we kicked off, isn't it? But from what we can see now, there's 2 or 3 sections which seem to be quite a lot, producing a few more fish than others at the moment. But it's a lot of people in those sections, so there's maybe 50 anglers that are in prime position at the moment.
But literally, just as we came on air, there was somebody that's just caught an 18-kilo carp, and they then had a second run. So
a double hookup, wasn't it?
A double hookup. And I think the thing is, there are so many carp in this lake that when they go around and they go around in the shoals that they are, and the size that they are, you know, it is possible to actually have 4 on. Like boom, boom, boom.
I think it's all about making sure you've got plenty of bait down to keep them there. Otherwise, they're just going to keep moving. Yeah. And I know Bianca and Lizette, they've put plenty of bait in already. They did tell me how much they put in.
And what bait was that they're putting in from Dynamite?
It would be very difficult for me to say that. I promise to keep it a key secret. But I know what they're putting in, and they've put plenty of it in, and yeah, they're doing okay at the moment.
Basically, they're holding them, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, from when we were here on live TV, it was very obvious that they were coming from our left-hand side, wiping out Jason's rods, Jason Cowan's having a few fish, then Larissa, and it sort of went through from there. And you could see that if you hadn't got maybe 4 or 5 kilo out per rod, I would say.
They've put a few more kilos down that.
Yeah, I would say that's a minimum in it, really, to hold them for any more than 10 minutes at a time.
We're talking about food. Let's have a look at the cake, because we had a special cake that was made for the event.
It was an
cake.
incredible
That was a beautiful thing. To celebrate the 15th anniversary of the World Carp Classic, it was important to have a very special cake. Well, this is it. We've had Terry Greenhouse, who's a master chef, actually cook and make the cake for us. And as you can see, it's in a 3D version, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've noticed you made a little mark here.
Yeah. But after this event, I will make a mark also here now.
Ah. Well, I think that's a good thing. So I think you should cut the cake.
I will take the piece of the cake where we won last year to have here for these 2-3 days, and I will eat it step by step.
Excellent.
Look at the size of that.
Hey. It really was a spectacular opening ceremony, and it was great to have actually been all part of that. And then the 16 fireworks which we lit 15, 1 for each year of the event, and of course it's important, 1 for luck. But then from there we then had the cake, and the cake was a special moment to actually be able to have that with Peter Mikkeler. But if you've got questions for us this evening, and please feel free to ask us. We're happy to answer any questions that anybody's got. Information on Facebook or Twitter, please contact us.
Or people can contact us through the live stream as well, can't they, through the message board on there. But we've got Andy Chambers on as well later, obviously, as well, one of the big water experts. He's had a lot of success, so if anyone wants a bit more sort of in-depth knowledge about how to sort of attack this sort of water as well, he'll be your man for that one as well. So I think there's a lot to do there. If anyone wants to sort of catch up with everything that's going on World Carp Classic related, and when you look at Facebook, it's a bit mind-blowing how much is going on. But if you search hashtag WCC15 then basically either on Facebook or Twitter, you'll straight away get a listing of everything that's related to the World Carp Classic. And then please as well, when you put posts up about the World Carp Classic, those competitors that are watching and also everyone that's sort of watching the live stream, please end your posts with hashtag WCC15 as well. And that makes everything a lot easier for us when we're looking at all the questions that you guys are asking as well.
Well, it's good. We're actually starting to get quite a few questions coming on Facebook and Twitter already. We've got a question: who is the highest rated team? Do the South Africans stand a chance? That's
rated.
Team Dynamite, of course.
Yeah, I think Team. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there is a rating really as such, is there? We're on a lake this size. No, it's about
all about the draw, and it's all about where the fish are and the weather conditions.
It's 80% draw, 20% talent, isn't it? I think on a water this side, and there are so many pairs that in the right spot could walk home with it. Yeah. I don't think you could do that, but the girls, they're in a cool spot and they've
got talent as well,
and they've got the bait, and they're smashing it. And I think, you know, if Rob Tuff and Lee Jackson get fish in the swim, they'll catch them. We know the Romanians can catch them if they're there. Everyone that's fishing here is capable of catching them.
A lot of good anglers.
And the South Africans can certainly catch fish. I mean, we sponsor the South African team in Romania, and obviously the other competition, which we won't mention, but the South Africans have won it the previous 2 or 3 years, and this year they finished third.
They're really big match carp fishing.
That was behind
nation,
the Romanians and the Hungarians.
Yeah.
England came 20th.
They're really into their match fishing. There's a country, aren't they, carp style, much more so than we are. So there's a lot of pride for stake with those guys. They've come an awfully long way for it as well.
And they're very flexible as well. They change the tactics.
Yeah. The thing is, and also I think that, the South African teams, they're very determined as well. They're very professional. You always see them they always turn up at the World Cup Classic looking very smart.
Matching tracksuits.
Brilliant tracksuits.
Really good stuff.
That's important. If you're going to do an event like this on a place like this with the money and the time, the preparation and the pressure of achieving what is the biggest prize in carp fishing, you've got to do it wholeheartedly, haven't you? There is no point coming out here and sort of winging it. If you're going to do it, you do it right. And those boys from South Africa definitely do it right.
Definitely.
Another question that's come in is, what will the application process for next year's competition be? That's a good question.
You've got the man there for it.
What you'll need to do is you'll need to send us an email requesting a place. The competitors this year will have a priority relative to next year. But importantly for next year as well, there's going to be a lot of qualifying events. And I think this is part of the new relationship we've got with Dynamite Baits. There's going to be qualifiers in up to 16 different countries next year. And that's kind of a lot. And that may be, literally from Japan, to have qualifiers in Japan, right the way through over to even the UK. It's an exciting time for the World Carp Classic. And really, I think it's an exciting time really for the promotion of carp fishing, I think.
Definitely.
Proper carp fishing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, from my point of view, this to me is the epitome of carp fishing. I mean, the amount of skill and mental strength you have to get through, physical strength as well, to get through a week and properly attack this sort of venue, it doesn't get much more impressive. And you walk away with this win, you deserve every single pound of it in my eyes.
Yep.
I mean, this is the pinnacle, I guess.
Great picture there on the screen.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's Daniel. That's off my. That's out of all the pictures. That's Daniele's probably least favourite, I would imagine. But that's from your Italian.
Yep, that's one of our Italian guys representatives. Yep.
But I think there's a lot of questions that have come in about the baiting strategy and a bite at a time or go heavy to hold them there. I mean, that's a question.
That's a really tough question. I mean, the people I've seen today and yesterday, I spoke to quite a few now. I think there's people are using a mixture of the two actually.
Yeah.
I think I know which strategy is working best, and I'd say it's probably quite heavy at the moment. Certainly from Lizette and Bianca's point of view, they're going quite heavy. But I think every strategy could work.
I think from an English point of view, it's our heavy is not as heavy as what these guys call heavy.
I mean,
heavy to us is maybe 5-6 kilos in a session, in a day or a couple of days. So that's per rod pretty much.
That's not heavy for over here at all.
Last year we had somebody come with over 900 kilos of bait.
Yeah, that's what we were saying last night though. These fish, they're 30 pounds. Minimum on average, I mean, for 28 to 30 pounds. If a shoal of 20 of those come in over a couple of kilos of bait, you might as well not be here.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get one lucky bite and then they're gone again.
Yeah.
So you've got to come in with enough bait
We
to
were,
hold them.
a few weeks ago, we were fishing in Slovenia, and just to get fish in the swim, you're talking 40, 50 kilos just to get fish in the area, and then every fish you catch, you're talking 1.5 kilos over each
But
rod.
you say that though, but our friends, World Carp Classic friends, Ron van der Burr and Remco, who are sort of diagonally in that direction on the other bank, they've gone for a totally different sort of baiting strategy. We caught up with them yesterday morning to do a short film with them, which we'll show you guys in a second. But they've gone very light, very, very small holes in the weed and small wide. But we've got a little something to show you about how they approach what they're doing at the moment.
And again, it all depends on the area, doesn't it?
Well, let's have a look at how the guys got on.
Tournament just started. We are with 2 swims next to each other, very, very close. Our neighbors are moving a little bit in our swim. We ask the marshals to make a decision just till what point we are allowed to fish and they are allowed to fish. And for the rest, Remco found a lot of weed, really a lot of weed, and then after 200 meters it goes suddenly, there is a big drop off. Immediately there is no weed anymore. He is fishing behind it now, currently, but I'm gonna try to fish in the middle of it. So I'll hope we'll catch the first fish. This is about 40 centimeters. It's a pop-up. It's a 25 kilo hook link, so really, really strong. And in fact, this is a catfish hook, because I want it as strong as possible. I lost one nice fish last year and it still gives me nightmares, so it won't happen again. And then the other one is where the weed is a little bit stopping. This is the weed rig from Carp Spot, and this will come up like this, and we will fish it like this. Same hook link, just a little bit shorter, but I can only do this when the weed is not as high as on the other places. But to be honest, we caught fish like this last year, so I've got full trust in what I'm doing.
Well, as you can see, it's now getting dark, the sun's going down, and I think one of the things that we've been in contact with, a company from America contacted me recently regarding some lighting that they had. And it's a company that's actually got some very interesting type of lighting. In the event of disasters in all these, in countries like the major global disasters around the world, where the power supplies are cut off and different things like that, this particular company has actually brought together some solar powered lighting. Okay, that in itself isn't new, but these particular lights are absolutely brilliant. Nakero, these are the lights themselves, and the way it works, they're light sensitive, that they charge during the day with a solar panel behind them, and then literally, as you can see, as you turn that round, they turn themselves on. Really, really clever. And
that's crazy. So obviously it's picking up the light from the studio lights we've got here, which is obviously turning it off. It doesn't feel like it needs to work. Yeah. And then you're turning it round so it doesn't see the light, and it's instantly switched on. Yeah.
That's amazing. It really is incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And the great thing about these lights, I mean, they come in different sizes as well. I mean, look, this is a great example. There we go. Look, if you turn that round, that's it. It's off. Turn it on. And these are ideal for carp anglers, because I mean the type of lights they are is hang them around your bivvy. When it gets dark, they turn on. Yeah. That's it.
Really no batteries. You're not running out of batteries.
And these are available to buy now, or?
Yeah, well, these are literally the first ones into Europe. And what they've got, I mean, cleverly, they've actually introduced these ones as well.
And they've got a funky little fitting at the bottom that makes it look like a light bulb as well. They've got a little coil on the bottom, makes it look like a light bulb.
Absolutely, but what these things also do is you can take the actual top off, and actually, where in the centre here, where you've got the bulb, you can put a cover on the top of that. You can put a red cover on there, or a green cover, or indeed just leave it as white. So for navigation on boats, again, absolutely perfect.
Very, very good. Yeah.
Really, really clever stuff, and we'll certainly be looking further into this with them, because I think it's a great product.
Definitely a good
for
product.
Carp angling, and actually people with boats. So really pleased about that, and really thank them for sending these over for us to have a look at.
It's a good piece of kit, definitely.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, that's yeah, these are the slightly larger versions of them, and they've got camouflage on the back as well. So these are camoed up.
Yeah.
So you know, it's the same sort of thing. You know, and you know, absolutely bright lights as well.
Unbelievable.
You know, that's a bright light. You know.
It is. So don't point it in this
I
direction.
hope they work quite as well in the UK.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Well, that's a bit of a challenge, but you know, what you need somewhere where there's a bit of sunshine, and evidently over here at the moment there's plenty of sunshine.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've just heard a fish crash, and I know Andy, who's coming on in a minute, has just heard a fish crash out about literally 100 yards range off the banks. Although I'm interested in the lights, I'm really hoping that the boys down the beach get screaming, running a minute, and we can all go flying down there with a load of equipment and try and get the first sort of
see what those lights are really like.
Well, I think I mean, there's a lot of information going up on Twitter and on Facebook as well. So there's loads of information. It's a daily show that we've got here for the next few days. So, and we'll bring you all the latest information and bring you up to speed with what's actually going on with this particular event.
It's from 7 o'clock every night, isn't it? It's always the same time. 6 in the UK, 7 GMT plus 2, which is where we are now in Italy. So for everyone watching. So you know, hopefully we'll be able to keep you entertained over the next few nights. And there'll be more and more sort of fish captures and information to see, like these ones here.
This is one of Lisette and Bianca today when I went round to see them with one of the 6 fish that they'd actually caught on their swim. I mean, absolutely great. And that had been caught just before I got there. And so just after I left, in fact, they caught another one. So that took them from 5 fish up to 6 fish. So
just to give it a bit of perspective, obviously this is not a huge Bolsena carp, although everything's more than welcome at the moment. I don't know for sure, but maybe 15, 16 pounds, that one, maybe scrape a 20. So it's definitely, you know, it's a nice fish to keep putting in the net, definitely. But literally, if someone catches a couple of the proper ones tonight, they're going to fly.
2 big fish on another swim could totally change the picture.
A couple of 40s like we had in that evening on live TV, and it will look 100% different in the morning.
But I think what was good is actually prior to actually getting here, that you ran a competition for a couple of lucky anglers.
Yeah.
In the last grasp of actually having an opportunity of participating in this year's event.
Yeah, one of the things we did as soon as we obviously started working together was we gave a place up for grabs on our website, dynamitebaits.eu.com. Bit of a blatant plug, and we had a really good end. I mean, we put some basic criteria in and asked people to send a few pictures of their favourite fish. We had over 250 entries, and we did a draw and picked sort of three potentials out of the bag, and Wim and Dave from the Netherlands were the lucky winners. And I mean, it's just a fairy tale story for them. They had 2 weeks to get time off work, get ready, and get themselves over here.
So
and
what did they win them for? What was the prize?
Their prize was a place here, which is a prize in itself.
Which is great. Should we have a look at that?
Yeah.
We're at peg 36. We've made our way around now to 2 very special guests, 2 very special anglers, Wim and Davey, who won our competition on the Dynamite website. So we're just making our way around now to have a quick conversation with them and see how they're going on in the Dynamite World Carp Classics.
I was outside when he called me, and he told me that I have to get some free days, and I couldn't believe what I've heard, so I told him yes immediately. This is great, really great. You would never think that this can happen to you.
We chose to fish with the grave because it's a body with fish in it and a lot of good ingredients. And we want to have 2 different bodies. So we also got the chocolate malt tiger nut. It's a sweet body with the tiger nut touch in it. I think we don't know yet which body is the best for here, so we want to try 2 different baits. We also used a lot of pellets. A lot of chopped tiger nuts and other particles, so we can try a lot of things. Use 50 mils and 20 and 26 because there's also a lot of big fish here and a lot of small fish, so we want to get the fish feeding on the swim and hope it stays long enough with the smaller bodies to catch one.
I know it's a match, so obviously it's the luck of the draw, but are you happy where you've drawn this year?
Yes, we're happy with what we've drawn. Some of the persons who ended top rated last year We are standing on this pack last year, so it's good. We got a lot of it in front of us. We're fishing.
Well, sorry for that technical hitch. The excitement and all the energy that's actually being required to drive this TV show from a beach, actually on the shores of Lake Bolsena, actually tripped the switch. So anyway, what we'd like to do is get back with the content for the show this evening, but also actually get to the point of actually thanking the guys that are helping put this together. Southampton Solent University have been a group of people and a team that I've been working with for the last 2 to 3 years now, and it really is quite incredible to see the areas of expertise and the technology they've got and how they actually help put a show like this together. And really am looking forward to working with them in the future on lots of other projects such as this. But anyway, back to the show and back to a great angler in his own right, a great big water angler, Mr. Andy Chambers. Great part of the World Carp Classic team, a very important part of the World Carp Classic main team. Andy, you're here, head marshal again, and yep. It's perhaps you'd like to kind of share some of your experiences first of all about pegging this type of event and the challenges that we're faced with this.
Yes, well, you know, as we've been out here more than a week now to prepare for the lake, and as you say, it's been a challenge. It's a big lake. It takes a long time to get around the lake. The water levels this year are a lot higher than we've seen
in previous years,
which has ruled out a lot of the areas on the beach stretches, as well as that some of the better areas we were expecting to peg. We've been restricted by the local authorities, which has made life difficult. And but over the last 3 or 4 days before we pegged the event, I've done loads and loads of runs around the lake, and we've got the pegging right, I think, this year for what we needed. And I'm quite happy today going around the lake. Everybody seems quite happy with their pegs. I've had no complaints, etc. So, you know, it's been good.
Well, I think the thing is, it's not just haphazardly walking around the lake and putting a few pegs in, thinking, right, let's walk out 150 metres, 140 metres, or whatever the distance in between each peg is. It really is a question of looking at the different points.
Exactly, it's not that easy. You know, there's so many different areas, different types of pegging, long beaches, to holes in the reeds, to existing pegs which have to be used. So it's a big mixture, and it's a lot different to the venues we've used before. But I think with you know, I'm happy today going around to see everybody, going around the lake. But it's been good.
What are the differences of pegging somewhere like Bolsena in comparison to Medine and previous waters? What are the main difficulties or differences that you've had when you've been pegging this one?
Well, Medine is, you know, obviously a lot smaller, 2,500 acres. I'd hate to guess how big this is. Perhaps 25,000, you know, 25,000 acres. You know, it's huge. There's obviously different areas and depths. There's obviously rocky cliffs, which we can't use one side of it. There's restrictions on access, etc., etc. Restrictions from the various local authorities.
It's not a purpose-built fishing lake, is it?
No, so and you have to work natural, around that.
Yeah.
And you know, to get the best pegs, you know, my main consideration is when I peg a swim, would I be happy to peg it? You know, if I'd be happy to peg it, I want to fish it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to peg an area where somebody's going to be not happy for the best part of 5 days.
And also the access points as well. I mean, that has to be a consideration.
Exactly. You can't have anglers, you know, having to go miles and miles to try and get to their swim by boat, etc. So access is an important point, and we have to look at all of those when we're planning the swims, looking at the distance between pegs, etc.
I mean, it seems crazy, doesn't it, when you think of a water this size,
big.
that you could have a problem with the distance between one peg and another peg.
Exactly. You'd think you'd get 200, 300 pegs on here,
yeah, but
it's
I mean,
not that simple.
We've still got, well, 4 times, we've got 130 odd pairs 2 anglers per pair. It's still a lot of rods, and they all get 250 metres wide. They all get a couple of 100 yards each side of them, or 100 yards each side. That's still a lot of water when you add it all together. A lot of bank space, isn't it?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, I dread to think the work that you've had to put into to swim.
I've worn out one pair of shoes already.
I'm not surprised.
Well, look, let's have a look at how the Dynamite ladies have actually got on, because I think we've got some action in terms of what they've been up to. So let's cut to that and have a look at that.
Hi guys, here we are on day 2 of the Dynamite World Carp Classics in Italy at the Lake Bolsena. If a picture could speak 1,000 words today, it certainly does. The sun's out, the wind's dropped, absolutely fantastic for sunbathing but not very good for fishing. However, we have some great news from our Dynamite anglers, Lisetta and Bianca. They're at the top of the leaderboard at the moment. We're just on his way down to see the ladies, so let's have a look how they've attacked the lake and hopefully get some information for you guys back home.
We're catching the fish mostly during the night. We caught 3-4 fishes during the night, and we had 2 runs during this morning, so during daylight, and one we unfortunately lost in the weeds, and the other one we just weighing and weighed 12 kilos, so woo!
Well, it was a hard work to get here, but 1:30 we had everything here on the pack. Our beaks were ready, so we had time to look at the water, make our strategy, and at 2 o'clock we ran in the water with our boat to get everything ready.
Look what's happening, girls. You're the top of the leaderboard,
Yeah,
so I think it's the guys who'll be panicking at the moment.
But we still have 4 more days to go, so
Yes,
we keep our fingers crossed and we will do our job very fine.
We have good baits, the best there are, so.
Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing Lisette and Bianca there and hearing some of their excitement of what they've been up to over the last 24, 48 hours. And we're starting to get lots of questions coming in from the viewers. And perhaps this is one for Andy. If it's not happening and the bites aren't coming, at what stage of the event would you change your plan of action?
Well, you know, with big water carping, you know, I always say it's never going to happen on the first day. You know, the times I've fished the big lakes around France and Europe, if you catch a fish on the first couple of days, you're very lucky. You have to plan and build your swim and hope the fish come in, perhaps on day 4 or 5. You know, but it's not going to be instant. But keep going and keep believing in what your strategy, and keep believing.
That's the key, isn't it?
It's
confidence
you can win
in
it.
what
Confidence.
You're doing. Yeah.
Too many heads go down after what, day 1 or day 2.
Yeah, I've heard it today when I've
Exactly.
been going around, people looking for new spots already.
Yeah.
And you think, well, if they're not there, they're not there at the moment.
No.
You know, stick with your spot. You know it's safe. You know your rig's presented properly. Your baits are still there. Let's keep going. That's something that Remco and Ron did that we saw earlier. They've stayed with their spots. A lot of people have already started checking. They haven't moved the rods since they put them out because they're checking with the carp scope. They're having a look at the top and the bait's still there, and now they've had a fish off it.
Yeah,
So,
that was it. I mean,
confidence.
Yeah, I think that was great to see Ron actually hook up with the fish there and away.
That's the key, isn't
went.
it? Confidence in what you're doing.
It's a huge lake. It's not going to be carp in every swim, but sooner or later, over a course of 5 days, it will be carp coming through that swim. You just have to wait for them.
Yep.
You know, it's a patience game.
Yeah,
you
just
know,
keep making sure it's all spot on for when it happens.
Exactly, and when it comes good,
Well,
you could catch
Here's the
many
leaderboard
20 kilos.
at the moment. Look, there's 7 fish and Spom 77, peg number 77, and Erwood Nan Günther from Austria. And then Bianca and Lisette are in second with 51.1 kilos. So the guys in the lead have got 90.5 kilos at the moment. And then after that we've got Avaraz and they're also doing very well on Club Carping 106. So that's the leaderboard at the moment. So 90 kilos, 51 kilos, 33 kilos. And then actually as we go down into the different sections, look at the section leaders. 21.4 kilos with 2 fish. That's Mitch Smith and Simon Watson. That's on the ATT section. Big Fish and Carparus sections are currently blank. But then we go down to the CC Moore sections, and we've got Joseph Siska and Bratislav Seviek. They're doing well with, although not the biggest fish in the lake, but 11.4 kilos. They're on the leaderboard. We've got Club Carping with Colin Gray and Dan Moorcroft. It's good to see them catch a fish. In fact, 3 fish, 25.4 kilos. They made a great video last year. Then on to the Imperial bait section, Marco Cervelli and Andresi Cervelli from Italy, 2 fish but 29.3 kilos, so big fish there. Then onto the jetfish section with Milos Antek and Slasivac Antek with another, not a great size fish, but 8.3 kilos. Club Carpus section is blank, but the Northern Bait section, 2 fish there for 20.4 kilos. And then moving on to Pescalis, there's a fish been caught from the guys from Freetime Bolsena, Nicola Simonetti and Luca Simonetti. And then on the PVTV section, there's a fish caught there, 5.3 kilos, just scraping in, because the limit this year is 5 kilos from catch and release. The Rod Hutchinson section is currently blank. The SBS section, there's 2 fish there from Davide De Calando and Andrea Fava from the Dynamite team. And then Solar Tackle, the Solar Tackle section, Cobras Lockering and Christian Lindenberg from South Africa, scraping in with a 7.9 kilo fish. And onto the Spom section, Jean-Marc Aurelioni and Greg Dennis catching the first fish of the competition. And then looking onto the team competition, Dynamite Bait are currently in the lead with 51.1 kilos. And then we've got the full catch report as the fish have been caught. That's all on the internet, so you can go to that, go to the World Carp Classic website, worldcarpclassic.com, have a look at that. All the information's on there. The new app that we're using is delivering and working and providing all the information on instantaneously as the fish are caught, reported and weighed, and that's all going up on the website, so that's great stuff.
Just a quick one on that. We've had a fair few questions through the World Carp Classic Facebook and the Twitter page about where can they see that leaderboard. You do need to log in and register with the World Carp Classic to have yeah, exactly, on the screen. That's obviously a picture of the screen that you guys can see at home. And that will give you access to that live leaderboard as well. And obviously check out the World Carp Classic page on Facebook, the Instagram account World Carp Classic 15, and also the Twitter page WCC UK. And there's always updates and pictures and things going on there of live capture, sort of as and when they happen as well. So there's a number of different ways to keep in touch with what's going on.
Well, there's plenty of questions coming in at the moment. One of the questions, Nick, is how many teams went out to Italy to practice prior to the event?
How many teams have admitted they came out is probably different to how many did come out, but we know that there was,
exactly.
Yeah, we know that there was a fair few. Obviously, the Italian guys have taken every opportunity. Daniele and Riccardo from Dynamite, I know, have had a fair few cheeky visits over here. Also, obviously, we know Max Nollett has had a fantastic week the week before, fishing, I think, out of the
200 metres from here. No, 200 metres from here.
Just up,
as we speak.
The swim where no bank, there's never any fish come off that bank.
Fish to 22 kilo.
Yeah, I think he had 340s, didn't he? English
yes,
40s.
nice fish.
And they were stunners as well. So, I would say there's a fair few have come out here because it's a big water to walk up on the first day and be confronted with, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to one of the former champions, Rob Tuff, and see his kit and his bait and his tactics, and perhaps you'd like to have a look at that.
Hello to you, the viewing public, all 10 of you. I'm Rob. I fish, as many of you will know, for Mainline baits and in this competition, Carp World. I'm just going to show you right now some of the bait that I'm going to put in around the marker poles. I'm just about to go out and try and find another spot. So I've got a bucket in here and we've got a mixture. We've got a bit of sea salt there that's going to go in, which will dissolve in a few hours around the swim. And in here we've got quite a bit of response pellet. This will go out a bit sparingly with the ladle. Well, they're in there, they're just bits and pieces of bait, so we try not to sort of put, if we can, just whole borders out all the time. But they'll just be spread out and scattered around sort of the markers that we're fishing in. So the boat's ready. I'm just about to go out now and try and find a couple of spots. We've got quite a bit of weed, so it's a bit difficult to find clear areas. These have managed to stay fresh, pretty much frozen until now. They're sort of now just nicely cold and they'll be okay for the week. So we have a nice quantity of Mainline activate, and we bought just a few of Mainline seal, just in case we fancy a change on one of the rods. So they're in the igloo, fresh for the week. Hopefully we're going to start catching a few. You never know. That's the plan. Always optimistic. So I shall say au revoir. Get myself out of the boat.
Well, I hope you enjoyed having a look at what was going on there, and perhaps we'll get a few questions then, Nick. What are your thoughts on the questions that are coming in?
I think it's brilliant. I mean, the World Carp Classic is as big as it gets in everything. It's not just the biggest lake that a match is held on. It's not just for the biggest fish with the biggest anglers. The social media, the fact that the Solent Uni are here doing what they're doing. I mean, this is proper. This is a real, genuinely awesome event. And the social media sort of reflects that, the buzz that's going on through the Facebook. I mean, we only started the Instagram account over a beer a couple of nights ago, and there's 250 odd followers on that, and we've got over 15,500 followers on Facebook, which has almost doubled in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
The Twitter page is going through the roof.
15,518 to be precise.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get to 16,000 by the end of the night, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
if everyone
it would do.
lets their friends know. But yeah, that's. I mean, the great thing is we've got some incredible talent here fishing wise to speak to, and Andy won't like me sort of referring to him in that sentence, but I've known Andy's escapades fishing for big fish for a long time without ever knowing Andy personally or meeting Andy until this trip, and he's had some awesome results, and I've been picking his brains sort of in the car, going to different pegs about how he would be approaching this lake, whether he'd be on his own or sort of as a private angler, whether he'd be here. And that's definitely a question that a few other people have asked. Obviously they know Andy for being the first person to catch 370s out of a rather large French puddle, which takes quite a lot of effort and talent to have achieved. And that was something that personally I'd really like to know the answer to, and I know a lot of other guys did. Not so much where you would want to draw, but if you were turning up here as a private angler, if you were on a session like you were at the Orient, how would you approach it? What would you be looking for?
Well, like any large water, patience is a key. You need to obviously select your areas where the wind's going to be, the main wind directions, etc. Look at the depths of the lake, the features of the lake. Obviously, previous captures where previous decent fish have come from. I'm really only looking at wanting to catch big fish.
That's the difference between. I mean, if I was to come out here, I'd be after bites.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Yeah, I'm only after one bite.
Exactly. And that,
£70 carp.
That's a totally different mindset to what most people are probably coming out on. Because it's not just about Lago di Bolsena or the Orient or Shanty or Cassien. It's about a lot of people just going to France for a week. It could be 5 acres like I'm going to in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess the whole principle is pretty much the same. It's carp fishing at the end of the day, isn't it?
It's carp fishing.
But the mindset of someone like yourself.
I'm prepared to wait.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to wait for a big fish, and they don't come along very often, and you have to be patient.
So how long is a session when you go to the Orient? What are you
it could be anything from 4 weeks to 10 weeks.
Okay.
So it can
That's a long time to fish for, actually. That takes some serious preparation.
Mentally, it can take a lot, but on lakes like this, it's so vast. You're not going to catch the biggest carp.
You've got to be lucky to do that, haven't you?
You're not going to catch the biggest carp in the lake in a week.
So if you were a typical angler like myself, who's got a full-time job and everything else, and we're not lucky enough to be doing what you're doing, and we had our normal week and we were going abroad, a lot of people wouldn't even consider coming somewhere like this for a week's holiday.
Well, I don't see why not.
Exactly.
Because if they get a good spot in the right conditions at the right time, there's some big catches come from here.
I mean, I would personally be confident now if I came back next week of catching fish. If I was on my own, I'd be very confident I could come down here in a week and walk away with a handful of decent Bolsena fish.
Well, look what happened when we came out earlier on in the year, Nick, when we did the Bolsena live programme. And actually, we're going to be meeting the guys tomorrow night that they've got the underwater technology and the underwater cameras from carpspot.de. It's going to be great. And that's a really exciting kit that they've got to actually see physically what's going on underneath the water with the fish there. It really is kind of awesome.
So what would your top tips be if you were here for a week?
The main consideration, I think, is the wind and the amount of bait you put in. I think a lot of anglers don't realise when the winds come how much bait is just dislodged from their swim. the undertow is just unbelievable.
It's funny you say that, because we've had an awful lot of questions today through Facebook and Twitter, and a lot of them have been about the baiting with the undertow.
Yeah.
How would you judge that? I mean, a big wind on here is 3-4 feet waves.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
It? I mean, it's bigger than Newquay.
Yeah.
So it literally is bigger than the surf in England.
You could certainly surf on it.
So how would you adjust?
Well,
to that
so
then?
when it's calm, obviously you want to put the bait in, but obviously when it's you got your undertow, there's no point putting lots of bait in, because there's going to be half a mile down to your left or right.
So you wouldn't actually put any bait in when it's that sort of rough.
Well, you're going to put a bit, but not a lot.
Yeah.
You're more looking at scent trails, as
Yeah.
I see it. Scent trails down the wind to get the fish coming up to your swim.
Yeah.
That's more important. So.
So do you use a lot of flavours, liquids, oils? Do you glug them up and try and get?
Certainly. I'd have thought halibuts would work here as well.
I have
obviously
seen
with the warm water.
I have seen a few Seeky stacks of 22 mil halibuts knocking around.
They're going to break down lovely in this water.
Have a look at how big this is. I mean, just to put this into perspective, I mean, this lake that's 43 kilometres around the edge there. There's other lakes kind of further over to the right-hand side there, but it is truly a massive water.
Yeah, this was actually a picture that I stole off an Italian astronaut on the space station.
Right.
Nice.
Who a few days before we came out here, my partner Sharon found on Twitter when she was searching through Bolsena-related posts, and that was taken from the space station a few days ago.
Wow.
And you can actually see, with the guys that are watching on their computer, the wind direction on there and the peaks. That's how big Bolsena is, and you can see the sort of volcanic nature of the place as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what makes it so epic, I guess, when you look at how clear the water is, and how sort of encroaching all the cliffs are and the islands that seem to come out of nowhere from the middle of the lakes. I mean, it's an incredible place, but yeah, it's pretty. When you sit here now and we're on the back of the wind. We can hear I've heard another one about 10 minutes ago, Bosch out there.
Yeah,
they're out there. They're out there. So hopefully you guys tonight are going to nail one or two.
Yeah.
Which would be really nice.
But it was quite incredible being out in the boat today. There were some big flat spots, literally flat. The water was flat. Yet as you got in closer towards the shore, it was really quite rough there.
Yeah, I think that's those islands and especially the weed beds as well, which it sounds crazy, and the depths are sort of 7-8 metres to a lot of people, but that weed is literally 1 millimetre under the surface, isn't it, in a lot of places?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's obviously going to create some big flat spots. And I've seen a lot of boys putting a lot of oil on their bait as well, and seen some big old flat spots come up off baited areas as well.
That's, it's all down to the flavour trails,
Yeah.
attracting the fish into your area.
Yeah.
Them flavour trails can go miles down the lake.
Yeah, it's a great thing as well from a point of view of whether you think there's fish in your area as well, isn't it? When they disturb the baited area.
Yeah.
Obviously you get the initial oil hit from the first couple of minutes after you put it in, but it doesn't take long, and then sort of an hour or two later, if that oil slick comes up again, there's something
fish searching for your
investigating.
bait.
And you start
the old excitement starts going.
sitting on the edge of the chair and you're
You get a
willing
few
that buzzer
bleeps
to
as well.
go.
A few line bites.
Oh, especially when it's like in a match like this, the pressure is proper on, isn't it, to catch a fish? So
get our first fish on the bank.
Yeah. I was unfortunate enough to be with Lee Jackson earlier.
He got flat rodded.
Oh no!
The
power,
really?
The power of this.
Really?
20-pound mono that you couldn't physically break if you tried. And
really?
I'm not a small guy. I tried it, couldn't move it.
No.
A really powerful mono. I was sitting there. We just finished doing some filming, which was the same as the Rob Tuff video that we saw earlier. And I said to Lee, it'd be really nice to finish this up with a run, Lee. And he was nodding like that. Yeah, well, I don't think there's any fish out there at the moment, Nick. Literally 5 minutes later, it absolutely tore off.
I know, it was a big run, wasn't it?
Oh,
actually flat rodded him.
We were 10 feet away from it, and it had done 20 yards before Lee got to it.
Really?
And as he's picked it up and disengaged the bait runner, the clutch was, you could easily take line off with the clutch, but at fishing braid, even at that range, the power, the fish was obviously on its way to Kingdom Come at the time.
It was just to Bolsena.
Yeah, he lifted the rod at sort of 45 degrees, it flat rodded him, and before he had a chance to get his head, literally it took seconds. Bang, and the hook link had gone.
Oh no, he must be gutted, absolutely gutted.
But do you know what? That sort of shows the mentality of people like Lee and Andy and stuff. It was brilliant. He was obviously gutted that he's lost it. But the key is he's got to run.
Got to crack on.
And
there's fish out there.
And now he knows, as he said to me, I said to him, you're in the zone now, Lee, aren't you? And he said, yeah, I am bang on it now.
Yeah.
He said, I've got my spot. I'm not moving from it. I know they'll feed on it.
Yeah.
I know they'll eat my bait. And I know I can fish it properly. He said, all I've got to do is slightly adjust the way I bend into one tomorrow or tonight, and I'm going to land it. He said, I trust all the gear I'm using.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I think him and Rob took that as more of a bonus
as a
than a
wake-up
negative.
call.
Although
Yeah.
a bit of a pain, obviously, he's lost one.
Yeah.
And you never know how big they are on here because the power, what you've seen, the way they go, and it's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were out here with Live CV, if you remember, Larissa set her clutch, what we thought was loose enough. She had it on single sticks, quite high, tips up, and the rod was in mid-air within a split second, and luckily she managed to get to the rod. But that literally took a rod out of the secure butt rip and took it literally 5 metres in the air off the rod tips before she managed to luckily grab a hold of it. And I mean, and
hang on to it.
Yeah, so if anyone does come out here, set your clutches pretty loose and be prepared to go out in the boat before you really start trying to battle them. I think that's a really big, big thing.
That's a good bit of advice, that is, Nick.
Yeah, because I think to play them from the bank with a tight enough clutch, you just can't react quick enough.
No.
So I think, Lee didn't have the boat with him, but he wouldn't have had a chance to get in there anyway because it flat rodded him instantly.
Yeah.
But Rob Tough was out there at the time doing some prep, trying to sort the spots.
Right.
So there was no boat in the peg anyway.
Caught him by surprise.
Well, that was one of the fish that the first fish that was actually caught last night. So we went along to have a look at, which was the first fish of the event. But it was there we go. Just have a look at that. This is the guys. They were really rather excited, shaking and trembling they were as the whole media crew raced around.
we did all get there, didn't we?
Yeah.
There was about 15 of us in the end.
All turned up.
It was a fairly tight peg.
I was a bit surprised it took that long to get I was a bit surprised it took that long to catch your first fish.
Yeah. I thought
it would be
one
3 or 4 o'clock. Yeah, definitely.
But when you look at it, that says everything about Bolsena carp. That's a little one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a proper stocky, but you see the size of the head on that.
Yeah, it's going to be a big fish.
But they're all like that, aren't they? They are proper bulldogs of carp. And the power of them, and that was something we spoke about yesterday with the guys from Dynamite.
It was.
Everyone was talking about how far out you needed to fish, and that came from less than 50 yards from the bank. And that was something we were saying yesterday, that all the fish we'd seen were nowhere near as far as a lot of people were fishing. And I think that's been proved today with a lot of the fish.
Exactly.
Well, Nick, I think thanks, Nick, and thanks to Andy, and thanks to Daryl earlier on for assisting with the show this evening. I'd like to thank you all for supporting viewing this evening, and don't forget to come back and have a look tomorrow night. We've got a photo show to actually let you have a look at to see what's going on with a few of the photographs of the event over the last 24, 48 hours. So without further ado, thank you very much for watching this evening, and look forward to being back tomorrow and giving you an update on the 2013 World Carp Classic.